If you're a nonprofit and you have yet to start that YouTube channel or podcast, I hope that today I can convince you to start one. I have 2 YouTube channels, and although they can be a lot of work, once you streamline the processes, they're actually pretty easy to keep up, and they can certainly have high return for your efforts. So today I want to break down the top 6 reasons why you really need to start that YouTube channel like yesterday. Let's talk about it. Welcome to episode 68 of For Purpose Live, where I help you get clear, get focused, and be impactful by showing you how to step fully into that calling that you've been given without taking on that common narrative that nonprofits need to struggle. That's right. Together we can get you in your sweet spot using your strengths and your talents to serve this world and build a movement for your mission simply by living for purpose, on purpose. I'm your host, Rebecca Britt, and today we are talking about starting a YouTube channel or a podcast for your nonprofit. And when I say YouTube channel or podcast, I'm really saying a YouTube channel that you can just pull the audio away for and use as your podcast, because why not do 2 things at once, right? If you are new here, I want to let you know about my impact roadmap. I have completely reinvented the strategic planning process so that we can quickly get you clear, get you focused, and have you focused on your impact so you can demonstrate that impact to stakeholders and funders. This is a document that shows you exactly what are you trying to do, for who, how are you going to measure it, and what are the key activities you're going to focus on. It's that simple. It's called an impact roadmap. You can go check it out and learn more at forpurposelive.com/impact. Reason number 1 to start a YouTube channel for your nonprofit is awareness. You want to talk about the problem, right? People are not going to give to you or want to invest in you unless they understand the problem. And a lot of people have ideas or assumptions about the problem, whatever it is, whatever your nonprofit exists to solve, but they may not know the actual problem. A good example of this is a nonprofit that I was recently working with, and she works with people in transition or families in transition. So when she said, when people in her community think of homeless people, they think of the people asking for change in intersections, and their empathy for those people can vary. Whether it's right or wrong, it can vary. But what she sees in her residential program for families in transition is families that never thought that homelessness would be a thing, and they're there and they need support from their community. So trying to shift that narrative in the community's mind sometimes takes explaining and really showing, and you can do that really well through YouTube. The awareness piece of this is really letting people know how prevalent this is and why they should care, right? So YouTube is a great way to share that, because people like videos, right? People don't just want to read, and they're not going to read your website, and pamphlets are kind of out, right? So videos, short form videos where you're showing up to spread awareness, YouTube is a great platform for that, okay? Reason number 2 is education, all right? You are going to talk about the solution to the problem in education. And this is where you can say why your programming is the solution to the problem. You could also, like, say you are a nonprofit that's focused on a disease or something. This is where you could do your signs and symptoms. These are the signs and symptoms of a heart attack, signs and symptoms of preeclampsia, so that you are, it's also spreading awareness, but it's giving some tangible education. How to talk to your patients about this, right? How to respond to a family member who is struggling with substance use disorder. Not only is this education, but this is serving your mission more. Your population might be somebody that you want to teach financial literacy to. So sure, you could have a bunch of videos on financial literacy, but you could also have tools for people that interact with your population, like teachers, law enforcement, healthcare providers, and say, this is how we think you should interact with our population. Here's a checklist, here's a tool sheet, and really go through and explain those things. A lot of nonprofits have toolkits, infographics, all of these things like checklists, great, amazing resources, right? But a lot of them warrant a video that really breaks it through. How do I use this checklist? When should I use this? Like, how do I implement this into my practice? And it's really on you if you're going to take the time to make these great resources for people to have an explainer video letting them know about those resources. Take every resource you have out there, infographics, things you've already created. Each one of those is a YouTube episode that you can break down how people can actually use those things. Now, if your nonprofit would like to get featured in a future episode, make sure to subscribe and then comment the name of your nonprofit in the comments. The third reason to start a YouTube channel or podcast is credibility and relationship building. So this is why I have my YouTube channel right here, is because I do strategic planning for nonprofits. I'm a nonprofit interventionist. I offer services, right? But I want people to know me and know my heart and know who they're getting into a relationship with. So I'm out there and people can kind of sample me as a person to see if I'm somebody they like. I came to this conclusion because this is how I sample people. I have a question about something, I go to YouTube, I start typing it in, and if I really like the person that's hosting the show or giving the advice, then I often move forward to see, how can I work with this person? So you too can build that credibility and build those relationships by being out there and showing them your true heart and showing them how much you know and how much you care about the population. And once people start to love you and know your heart, dollars come easier, right? Investment in your mission comes easier because people are like, we know this person, we've heard them, they've educated us, they really obviously know a lot about their topic and they're obviously very passionate about it. The other thing with credibility can also be credibility against competitors. So it's hard to get like on the top of Google, right? Like for SEO on your website. So if somebody types in, I'd like to know more about this specific disorder. I would like to know more about dog rescues. I'd like to know more about police interacting with people with autism. You may not come to the top of Google. And a lot of times it's like the Mayo Clinic or some university that's done one article on this thing, but that's not their heart and soul. They just have all the power of Google to have their stuff show up first. So what's great is if you're on YouTube, not only can you show up in Google as a YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen that, but if you've searched for things on Google, especially like a how-to, a lot of times YouTube videos come up. But it also allows you to start coming up in SEO on YouTube. So now when somebody's wondering about something, signs and symptoms, a clinician or a provider or somebody that you want to influence is on YouTube, your stuff starts coming up. And now, not only are you building credibility and awareness and people are like, oh, they exist and I'm going to come and check out their website or whatever, but now you're also like, obviously they are the go-to person in this industry about that because they're coming up first. And so especially if you're in an industry where the other people in the industry do not have a podcast or YouTube, definitely be the nonprofit that speaks about that the most. You as a nonprofit leader, as an executive director, as a founder, should be wanting to step out as the expert on this, okay? You should have your own expert opinion. I see so many nonprofits that hold back. They wait for like some credentialing agencies or the bigger people in the space to make the guidelines, and then they push out the guidelines. And it's like, okay, that's great, but you have such great ideas. There's a reason why you started this nonprofit. Your ideas are probably innovative and they're probably based on experience and they can lend to the field. So I say, do not wait for somebody else to come along with the guidelines and best practices and then you just share those out because, the big players in this space said these things, so it might be true. No, come out strong with, hey, there are not current guidelines on this. We need to have this included in the guidelines. Best practices don't say this. This is why we do say this. Being controversial will always get you more views, more buy-ins because you're being interesting and people don't want the same old, right? People want to hear, what are the people on the ground actually experiencing, and how do they think that we should approach this problem? And if you come out strong with some good reasons why your approach would be better, then people will listen to you. So establishing yourself as a leader and really shouting at the top of that mountain, all of the ways why your opinions should be seen and heard will allow people to believe you and pivot from, waiting on the powers that be to release guidelines or best practices or whatever. So you want to be seen as an expert. Being on YouTube or on a podcast is a great way to start positioning yourself as that expert and gaining that credibility. The fourth reason is community engagement. This is a great way for you to reach a lot of people. But if you have a active subscriber list or people that are listening to your podcast and YouTube channel and they are sharing it out, you can include your calls to action. I don't know if you've noticed, but in this episode, I have already told you to go check out my impact roadmap. I've told you that you can subscribe and comment if you want to be featured in a later YouTube video. Those are all calls to action that you can put into your videos so that you are giving value, you're making sure that you're giving value and you're spreading your mission's word, whatever that is. But you also have calls to actions, which are ways people can get involved, whatever support you need at the time, ways that they can join your monthly giving program. This is an opportunity for you to have regular calls to action that are not just donate today or please give or support our mission, which is like a social post or in your e-news. This is something that, like, while you're having a conversation, a virtual conversation with somebody and you're building that relationship, you're also being able to state your needs, okay? It's also great for relationship building and community engagement because your community members want to hear from you, right? So my Stable Moments podcast, I have a bunch of Stable Moments locations, and the program directors, they get to hear from me. They get to hear the new episode. They get to send that off to their mentors and their community so that it spreads the word farther. But they also are like, you know what, Rebecca, it's great to hear from you. So it makes them feel like they are still in touch with me. They're getting more content and input and relationship and nurturing of that from me, but I only need to show up once, right? So it's a great way to feel engaged with your community without having to spend a bunch of time on social sites or commenting or writing keeping up with people individually, right? And then people will reach out to you and say, this was a great episode. This is how it affected me. Please do another episode on this. So you really do build those relationships while you get to drive the narrative, right? You're talking about what you think is important for your mission and your cause. The fifth reason that a YouTube channel is great for nonprofits is funding. Okay, so YouTube offers various tools like donation cards or fundraising features right on the channels for nonprofits. You may have seen for-profit entities or other channels have cards that are like, hey, donate to this, like they've chosen a charity. So you want to get your charity to be one that's recognized. So that's why you want to have a channel that's on YouTube. But you can also get monetized. Just in the last couple of weeks, I hit my 1,000 subscribers. All you need is 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 watch hours per year to get monetized. But what's so cool, what I've learned from having a YouTube channel is that whether you show up or not, the subscribers do still build. So in the beginning, you definitely want to you want to be as consistent as possible. I will do another video on how to actually launch this thing and to do it right. And part of that is being consistent. Anybody's going to tell you, be consistent, whatever your schedule is, stick to it. That said, I kind of went through like a pause moment about 7 months ago, and I completely paused everything. And I just did some internal work on myself. And during that time, I continued to get subscribers because all of the weekly videos I had done for the past year were starting to gain traction. So I was actually getting more and more subscribers even while I was taking a mental health break. So all of that is to say, it's like planting seeds. I planted seeds, I put in a bunch of effort, but even when I wasn't able to put in the effort, it was still building, and then I was able to hit my 1,000 subscribers, and at some point I'll be monetized. the point is that that's not like why I started this thing at all, but it's a nice it's a nice little revenue stream to look forward to. And I can only imagine what it will be at when you're 4 years in, 5 years in, 6 years in. Like, we all know how much happens when we start planting seeds and we just take small steps forward every day, every week, every year, every whatever. So I do know that when you survey YouTube channel hosts, they say that they wish they had started sooner. And I can totally attest to that because I love that I started Stable Moments way back when I did. And I'm glad that I started For Purpose Live when I did. Like, I would hate to be starting at zero now. So start now and start building up those subscribers, and you can get monetized. So paid directly through YouTube. And the final reason why a nonprofit should start a YouTube channel is amplifying your impact. And you know that I'm always going to go back to impact and what are you doing to move the needle of your mission. But YouTube offers a great platform for you to share not only what you're doing, but why it matters with the world. You can reach so many more people. So one reason why I decided to take Stable Moments and create a program model and license it to all these other locations, my nonprofit, was because I didn't want to just serve the 25 kids I was serving. And I had more global mission. Like, I really wanted to serve a lot more kids. Well, if you are doing something, let's say you're in a locale and you serve postpartum mamas, or you serve people or pets or animals or somebody in a local area, and there's only so much you can do in this local area. Then let's say you start posting these videos on YouTube about how to do this properly, signs and symptoms to look for. Then you're starting to amplify your impact. You're going way farther beyond your small locale. You're not only getting known as a leader in your space, but you're actually changing lives in people that can't access you, can't walk through your doors, but you're still giving them that rich information and service that they would have gotten if they did walk through your doors. So I love the amplifying impact piece. Any way that you can take that and give it to as many people as possible without you doing more work, right? It's not one-on-one consultation. It's recording a video and putting it out there for anyone to access whenever they can, okay? Don't forget to check out that strategic plan that will help you get clear, get focused, and be impactful at forpurposelive.com/impact. If you're inspired to start a YouTube channel, I would like you to hit that like button. And until next time, thank you so much for your service to this world.